A very good evening and a warm welcome to Hindustan Power presents the Economic Times Power Focus Gala evening, powered by Bajaj Electricals and brought to you by ETH. As I welcome each one of you, I'd like to thank all of you for taking out time and being a part of this very special evening, which of course has been better with your august presence. May I now request Mr. Ratul Puri, Chairman Hindustan Power Projects, to please join us on stage and personally welcome each one of you. Sir, let's put our hands together for him as he joins us on stage.
Honorable Shri Nabam Tukiji, Honorable Minister Shri Rajendra Shuklaji, Shri D.K. Shivkumarji, Honorable Minister Shri Manish Guptaji, all delegates attending this Power Summit, a very warm welcome to you. I want to thank the Economic Times for organizing this conference. This morning I spoke earlier, I gave the welcome address this morning also during the morning session, and many of the things I said then, I want to repeat a few out of them today in the evening. I truly believe these are exciting times for India. We've seen such a sea change in the last 1 year in terms of the overall environment. We've seen so much of optimism in the overall environment. And I really believe that India has a unique opportunity over the next few decades to become one of the leading economies in the world. And by doing that, we would significantly improve the quality of life of 1 billion people. I think there's a unique confluence that has taken place of a number of global and local events that has made this possible. Firstly, obviously, the aging of developed economies. I think we're seeing, a lot of the traditional developed economies aging, and their populations are aging. With the one-child policy in China, we are seeing a premature aging. Traditionally, an economy at the stage is China is not a developed economy. We would not have seen such a quick aging of their population, but because of their one-child policy, their population is aging rapidly. Combined with India's demographic dividend, so we have a situation on one hand where we have about 15 million people leaving the workforce in China and other developed economies, and we have 10 million people entering our workforce. So this is a very unique opportunity for India to leverage this position and truly become the factory to the world. Along with that, I think we have some more recent events and some shorter-term events, which I think give us as a nation great opportunity. The first is obviously the fact that India is capital and energy poor. So traditionally, we've not had capital, we don't have energy. The world today is awash in liquidity, and energy prices are at historic lows. So, if you just look at recently the oil price fall from $100 a barrel down to $50 a barrel, I think this has the opportunity to wipe out our entire current account deficit. So, I was doing some rough calculations. I think, we'll save on a quarterly basis just by this price fall close to about $14 billion. And, our current account deficit was at $10 billion in the last reported number. So, a significant opportunity for the country to change our current account position. I believe as these countries age, they will need people to manufacture the goods and provide the services to keep their economies functioning. I think adding to this, after a long period, we have both a stable government in the center, which has an overwhelming mandate from the people, and it is a mandate earned on the promise of development. We also have stable governments with dynamic leadership in most of our states. As I said in my opening remarks, these are exciting times for India. We do have many challenges ahead of us. We need to skill 10 million people that are going to enter the workforce. We need to build out India's physical infrastructure. And we need to obviously create the right governance framework, to name a few. But one of the biggest challenges I think India faces is the ability to deliver the growth needed in electricity supply. I think not just to cater to the central government's promise of 24/7 power supply across the length and breadth of India, but also to deliver reliable energy for our manufacturing plants, our software development centers, schools, malls, all the components of a rapidly developing economy. The sector faces many challenges. I think many of us sitting here are well aware of these challenges: coal and gas supply, rail linkages, stranded generating plants, transmission. I think the list is long. And I think all major stakeholders are working upon resolving these challenges. I'll talk about a few areas that I believe we need to focus upon. The first is the fact that for now 3 years there hasn't been much development of greenfield capacity, greenfield generation capacity. I don't think, considering the current state of the industry, there will be much generation of greenfield capacity for the next 2 years. So I believe as we get towards 2018, as the existing portfolio of capacity commissions out, we've got 70, 80,000 megawatts of capacity that's in advanced stages of construction, development that will commission out. Once this capacity commissions out, we'll have a period of about 5 years where there'll be very limited amounts of thermal capacity that will come on stream. This will coincide with a period when India will hopefully start to come back in terms of growth, and we will be seeing rapid economic growth as development-oriented policies and the benefits of reform start to show effect. And I believe this is going to present one of the most major challenges to India 2018 onwards. And effective steps are needed to be taken today to once again restart the development cycle and rebuild the confidence of investors in the sector. So whereas this is a challenge on one hand, I think it presents an opportunity on the other. It allows India to build out a much more modern energy architecture with a far more significant focus on renewables. Coal thermal will remain the mainstay of India's generation, but I think it allows us to build out a far more significant renewable portfolio. And I think the government has set the right target of 100 gigawatts of solar, which is a very, very ambitious target by 2022. Because it only takes 1 to 2 years to build out solar capacity. It takes, again, 1 to 2 years to build out wind capacity, and therefore, renewables is the one area that can step in and bridge some of this deficit or gap that will arise post-2018. I think we need to do a lot of other things on for demand-side management, energy conservation. I think this challenge gives us an opportunity to redraw the entire architecture that we have. I think the second area, and since we have 3 very distinguished power ministers here, I want to focus upon is the financial health of our distribution companies. We have a unique situation today and a dichotomy, where on one hand we've got significant levels of stranded generation capacity. On the other hand, we've got willing consumers that want electricity. But the challenges of our distribution companies create a dysfunctional intermediary, which doesn't connect these two. This has resulted in India building out close to 70 gigawatts of diesel, kerosene, liquid fuel-fired capacity, distributed generation, to meet the inability of distribution companies to meet their demand. This costs our consumers 3 times as much. Every time we burn diesel or we burn kerosene, it costs our consumers 3 times as much. And besides the cost, I think there's a significant impact on the environment, significant impact on the health. I think tariff increases and a reduction in transmission and distribution losses in our distribution companies is the need of the hour. Reforms in distribution is the need of the hour. Probably one of the most critical areas we need to focus upon. I think losses and dependence on subsidies at the state distribution company level has reached 100,000 crores per annum. This is clearly unsustainable. We cannot sustain 100,000 crores an annum. That's almost 1% of GDP in terms of losses in our distribution companies and subsidies being provided. Addressing the financial health of our distribution companies is critical to ensuring the long-term viability and growth of the sector. The third area which I believe we need to focus upon is ensuring adequate capital availability to the sector. As we look to the 13th 5-year plan, the sector will need around $200 billion of investment. Even if we ignore the debt component of the investment and if we ignore the equity component of the investment and look at the debt component, that's 10 lakh crores of investment needed. And just a number I looked up a few days ago, the total outstanding debt from Indian public sector, from the Indian banking system to large borrowers, and most power borrowers constitute large borrowers, is 20 lakh crore. So today outstanding debt is 20 lakh crore. In 5 years we need to get 10 lakh crore more of debt. And certainly the banking system will not be in a position to service this level of investment. And therefore there's a need to create takeout mechanisms from the existing banking system to be able to take out some of the debt they have so that they can take on incremental investment. We also need to create policies that make alternate means of financing, like infrastructure investment trusts, available to companies in the sector. This is the third area that I believe is vital to the continued growth of the sector. Before finishing, I'd like to take this opportunity to congratulate the 3 ministers that we have here. I was studying your states, and I was very happy to see that your states have taken the correct steps on the distribution side. Over the last few years, there's been significant reform in your distribution companies. You have raised tariffs where it is necessary, and you brought efficiency into your system. So I think congratulations goes out to you. Needless to say, the models that you have adopted need to be studied across India by other states and need to get implemented so that we can bring down this 100,000 crore level of subsidy and losses in the system. Because I believe we can only have Achhe Din if we have a powerful India. Thank you very much.